Hello and welcome to another CineQuest video. Today we're going to be talking about the 1990 movie Flatliners that stars quite a big
Kiefer
cast.
Sullivan, Kevin
Nice
Bacon,
diverse
Julie
cast.
Roberts, William Baldwin, Oliver Platt. I can never say that guy's last name right.
It's
Platt.
it's
I'm
Platt.
always trying to say Pratt.
And it's a group of actors that were, I guess, hitting their peak around this time, or
Really?
I would
You
say.
don't think Oliver Platt's peak was Lake Placid?
Well, I thought Oliver Platt's peak was the Three Musketeers.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah, so thought I'd bring that up.
Arguable. Very good. Very good.
One of the few Disney films that I like a lot. I think it's a good
I
movie.
mean, it was one of the old Disney films that wasn't like if you saw it, you wouldn't have thought it was a Disney film because it's got a lot of things in there that are not very Disney-esque. I mean, actually, wasn't Kiefer Sutherland also in that one? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is Kiefer Sutherland and
And he
Oliver
was
Platt were in there.
sexing up everyone left and right. And well, no, excuse me, that
Charlie
was
Sheen.
huh?
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, that was Charlie Sheen.
Also had Tim Curry in that one also.
Yeah. He
Good movie.
stole. Oh, yeah, it's awesome. Maybe-
This movie was directed by Joel Schumacher, and Joel Schumacher does have a filmography that is, if some of you may know, is Batman and
Yeah,
Robin, Batman Forever. He's got some good stuff in there though.
Yeah,
He's got
this
The
is
Lost Boys, which is also very good. A Time to Kill with Matthew McConaughey and Samuel Jackson and Sandra Bullock, also very good.
yeah.
Um,
It's fun
mind you,
watching
he did Batman and Robin just after like that really good A Time to Kill. So I don't know.
Well, you think he was just doing that one for shits and giggles and whatever?
passion project.
Popular.
I hope. So. I mean, yeah. You know what? I could see that. There's definitely a lot of passion in that movie. In those movies, excuse me.
So before we get into it, guys, I'm gonna assume that none of you have seen Flatliners prior to this.
No, I'd
I
heard
had
about
not.
it, but no, it was like I'd never read anything about it. I had no idea, and I was completely wrong about anything having to do with the movie. So
Had
yeah.
you seen the remake, reboot?
No, actually, I was doing the old Wikipedia IMDb's a little earlier, and I saw it spit out the 2017 soft reboot slash sequel,
Right. Yeah.
right? With a few interesting names, but I hadn't heard of anything of it, and also apparently.
It really just kind of came and went. I mean,
So did you get to
I
did
did
you
not.
fight through it?
I did not watch that. No.
Evidently, Kiefer Sutherland was in the remake though, or the reboot, but not as his Nelson character. He was
So
like one of the training doctors or whatever over them in the movie.
Right, but they did mention later on.
he
Apparently,
was under an assumed
that
name.
was her. Yeah.
Oh,
So
word.
he actually was playing the original character. It was it's strange. I read that too, and then I saw a little bit more saying that originally Sutherland announced he was going to be reprising his original role, and then was billed under a different name in the when the movie aired, and then I guess it explains it during the movie at some point that he's under an assumed name,
Hmm.
and so ipso facto, yeah, it is him.
It's not like it makes a difference to the movie being any better. So
No,
Could have.
a lot of the reviews, a
it could.
lot of the reviews said that it fumbled it pretty hard as far as the original premise went.
As far as the premise of this movie or the plot, it is Kiefer Sutherland is the main character. His name is Nelson.
Right.
Nelson, right?
Yeah.
And he's basically leading this group to perform some experiments that involve them trying to either like near death experiences. They're actually
Right.
dying
Right. Life
technically,
after death
yeah,
experiences, sort
to
of.
see like what's on the other side.
Right.
Um,
I don't know. Haven't you guys sort of heard about these sorts of medical, not necessarily mysteries, but things that happen where people will be, declared legally dead, and they'll bring
Yeah.
them back 20 minutes later, some kind of ridiculous deal.
I mean, I don't know the extent of like to how long someone has been, or like the longest someone has been dead before they're brought back, and brought back without any sort of extensive like brain
Brain
damage
damage.
or
Yeah,
anything.
'cause that's the thing, right? You choke off the oxygen to the brain for any amount of time, supposedly, and it's supposed to cause an immediate brain rot. I mean, yeah.
You know, the beginning of this film shows Kiefer Sutherland kind of like looking off into like I guess it's a lake or some shit, and that little I forgot that he said this because I've only seen this maybe like twice prior to this. But
Oh,
it's just because it was on TV. I never like intentionally
look for it.
went out to go watch this. It was probably like on HBO or something, and then I saw it like a edited version on TNT or TBS or something. But the first line in the movie is "Today's a good day to die."
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
bad. It's just terrible.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
And the way he delivers it, I mean, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Like,
One or two things
the
could have
fucking
happened. Like,
character of the movie. Okay. So to be honest with you, watching this when I first started, I was expecting like some Blade Runner bullshit or some kind of fucking like Escape from New York kind of garbage because of the way this guy Schumacher, I guess, shot the films or whatever. It's very atmospheric. You know, it has like a lot of the sort of film noir aspects of it when they use a lot of the lighting and stuff to like show certain scenes and
I
things.
know we saw a lot of it in Batman and Robin and Batman Forever.
Yeah. And it threw me off until they start actually, oh, we're medical students, that sort of thing. But if you were to take that out, that's, I guess, like if you were to take them out of the movie, I think, and just show the shots for what they are, like I don't know that I would think that this was a movie about
Near-death
experiences or anything like that. I would have thought this was some like just suspense horror movie kind of thing, maybe.
Well, I mean, technically, it's billed as like a psychological,
right? Psychological horror, yes.
So,
It did make me think of like Jacob's Ladder and those kinds of things, where you have a lot of the things that are happening in their heads,
right?
Hallucinatory experiences or shared experiences of some sort of similarities that they had. I don't know.
The one thing we do find out about these characters when they were younger, at least a few of them, even with William Baldwin, at the most,
he was the only one that
time,
had recent experiences.
Some of them were shitheads.
Yeah, so like apparently all of these people were like only really shitty when they were children, and then like in a few instances, or
well,
William Baldwin up as adults, with the exception of William Baldwin. I guess these were perfect people or whatever. Like, really? I don't know.
I don't know if I buy a lot of the resolve from some of these. Like whenever they do, have their near-death experience, or actually when they do die and then they're brought back, they bring back some kind of psychological element that was kind of like laying dormant in their subconscious for a long time. Maybe like a guilty conscience.
Like, see, I was hoping for a weird sci-fi element to pop off from there, but then I was like, oh, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Like, okay, these guys are just got to.
That's basically it, right? It's like a guilty conscience, right?
Right. Yeah. That's. So yeah, it starts off like with an interesting premise and a sort of interesting idea, and then just sort of ends up as some sort of like way for these people to deal with their personal traumas and shit. Like,
right. And before we continue on, I do want to give a little bit of context as to what the tone of this movie is, and I'm gonna bring up the trailer, or just at least a portion of it, so we can check it out. We can kind of gauge from there, or at least whoever's watching can kind of gauge what we're talking about, sort of. So here we go.
Welcome back, man.
I'm going next.
2 minutes.
2:10.
Was there anything negative about your experience?
This is too weird. We've experienced death. Now somehow we brought our sins back physically.
Oh my God.
You withheld information. That's the same as lying.
You wouldn't have done it. At least we would have had a choice. Hey, come on, they're your sins. Live with them. Oh. Nelson, please. I thought I paid my dues.
Thank you for the nightmare.
Come on, Joe.
Starting CPR. 1,000. 1,000.
It's like triggering my tinnitus.
Shouldn't be crossed.
The trailer kind of does make me want to watch it, and basically it's all because of the star power in this movie.
Yeah.
Had I seen a trailer, I would not have wanted to watch this movie.
Like, me neither. I like all of these. Well, Kevin Bacon's great. Kiefer Sutherland's cool. Oliver Platt. And I don't really care for anyone else. Yeah, no, like this is not a movie I would have watched on my own. Granted, I do enjoy all of these actors for the most part. I cannot remember the last thing I saw William Baldwin in.
Well, it was
But,
FLATLINERS.
before this, as if I wasn't being taken so exactly literally, but yeah, thanks.
I think I called him a lesser Baldwin when I saw his name on
Yeah.
the opening credits. I was like, and a lesser Baldwin because Alec was busy or some bullshit.
Exactly.
Well,
When the second I see him in there, I was like, "Where's Alec? What happened here?"
well, there's one thing we can do at some point, or even we can do it now. We can kind of tier the Baldwins, because I remember 4. So it's Alec Baldwin, William Baldwin, which I technically would put like second. Then we have Stephen Baldwin, who is from the famous movie Biodome.
Oh,
And then we have Daniel Baldwin, who was in Vampires with
wow, James Woods.
James Woods. Yeah, that
I'm
ever
sure they
so
loved each other.
lovable James Woods.
Yeah, they got along like a house on fire, no doubt.
But I think the other movie I saw William Baldwin in was in Sliver with Sharon Stone, which was also forgettable.
So there's a theme. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as this movie is concerned, like I said, the premise is 5 medical students try out these experiments. They succeed in dying and bring themselves back to life,
Right.
bringing back with them a bit of a guilty subconscious. I guess they're entities in some way, but in their mind, they're actually physically manifesting themselves into their
Right.
reality.
Yeah. Well, yeah, in their minds, because there's
Yeah.
plenty of scenes where they're farting around together and, William Baldwin, I can't remember his character's name, starts tripping out because he sees some shit on the TV,
Right.
but no one else can see it, and they tell him actually get it out of the way of the. Well, it's not a TV; it's a medical monitor, and it's actually the TV, and they tell him get out of the way because they can't see what's going on.
Who are they trying to resuscitate? Wasn't it at that point? Was it Kevin Bacon? Yeah, I think it was. Yes, right. It was because he stands in front of the monitor, and that's when Nelson and Manus are sort of arguing with each other because Nelson's like, "Let's leave him a little longer," and he's yelling at Joe to keep filming, and then Joe kind of moves in front of the. But he does have another instance where that exact sort of thing happens when he's walking down the street with Randy, and he's looking at the
like shop windows or whatever,
right, and he sees all of his videos and stuff. He doesn't have any. I'm so like the little I understand about this is they have these. Well, okay, you know what? Now I wanted to say just the one thing, and now I remembered. It is fun to watch Kiefer Sutherland get the shit kicked out of him by a kid.
Oh yeah.
I mean, damn, this kid just whips his ass. His
He has like fucking super strength, I guess.
yeah. Well,
it seems
I don't know. Like Nelson never tries to fight him back. So this was to go into that for the viewers. It was the hallucination or whatever the past that Nelson goes through is that he was a bully.
Yeah.
And
he ended up, I guess, accidentally killing a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the kid, comes back to sort of haunt him after this experience. And it's pretty funny because the first time he sees him, what does the kid do? He just like kicks him in the nuts and then just like
yeah, because he's like passing him by, right?
And then later he like beats him with a hockey stick, and I think another one he like beans him in the face with a screwdriver.
Your question?
No. The screwdriver just fell out of his hands because Nelson was like had in his hands after securing all the new locks and shit he put in.
Yeah,
and he was tapping on the floor to try to stay awake. I think
I could have sworn I saw him like.
Well, because
he
was like in his hands.
And then he disappears, and the kid's holding it in his hand. And I think he hit him with it, and then it shows the scene of Nelson still holding the screwdriver on the ground. Which, if that's something I caught, and I'm not mistaken, in the sense that if I'm not mistaken, I think that would probably be a good proof to show that the hallucinations were all,
right.
I mean,
Right. And but
They were only experienced by each individual.
I want to talk about like what I guess transgressions did they commit and what came back after they died. So basically, we already went over Kiefer Sutherland, Nelson's, his character.
Mhm.
He killed a kid accidentally. He was bullying him. He was in a tree. Him and his friends were throwing rocks at him.
And the
He
kid
came tumbling
falls.
down. He died. Now, did the dog die too?
I think
no,
so.
the dog's legs got like crushed by the tree
Right.
branch, and
Okay.
that's why it was all. So I don't know if he got paralyzed and died,
Uh-huh.
and was like still kind of alive as it was, or maybe it was in his death throes, because. So it's not clear whether the dog died as well, but that would account for why Nelson was hallucinating this dog as well in these
Right.
events.
Okay. We also we have Julia Roberts, and she saw her father kill himself,
Yep.
and she's kind of holding on to the fact that she thinks that it's her fault that he did that.
Well, and what's interesting though, just to quick spoiler, get through her thing. I thought it was kind of neat in the film because it seemed like her resolution was kind of like a like confronting a repressed memory of how her father actually killed himself.
Right.
Because she said he shot himself, but he actually was a junkie and I guess OD'd or something. But regardless, she blamed herself, and then I guess put a shield memory up of him using a handgun,
Yeah.
presumably, which I just thought that was kind of interesting. They could have explored that even a little bit with what this movie was.
Right. And I think they focus way more on Kiefer Sutherland's character and him like killing that kid, because like I said, everyone else has more. All their resolutions kind of happen a lot quicker than his.
Well, and I kind of think like I wish I was taking a tally during the movie, but just it seemed like as far as a couple tallies. One, trying to kind of guesstimate the movie time that the first hallucination occurred, followed by the second, because it felt like Joe's hallucinations came almost instantaneously, and then they were pretty active throughout, as were Kiefer's, but Julia's also were pretty there. But I guess it took so long for her to actually get flatlined, so there's only so much space in the movie, they got to jam it in. But I think that they spent a whole lot of time, definitely on Kiefer, but I think Joe was also a unique focus or a focal point of this. And then because with wonderful Kevin Bacon's dude, he
resolved his issues pretty quickly.
Kind of didn't really see a whole lot, or get super traumatized. Mostly he's got kind of had that train moment.
He had one big experience, and that was most.
And then saw her like one more time, like in his apartment building or something.
Yeah. But I mean, she didn't attack him or anything, did she? Right?
Well, no. But verbally, she attacked him.
Yeah,
that's basically what he was doing to her.
Right.
Yeah.
And he snipped that shit in the bud fast. I mean, he fucking called that lady up, found out her address, and just boom.
So if everyone had the reverse, like negative situation happen to them, why wasn't like Julia's dad like grabbing her and then like putting like a gun in her mouth or something like that? Because the evil that's inflicted on their victims comes back to them, but it seems that like Rachel, that's her fucking name in the movie.
Yeah, Rachel Manus.
She just is psychologically tormented by the reappearance of her father, but he's not really directly fucking with her as opposed to the other dudes who went under.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's because of the nature of the event, but I don't know if that matters.
I think maybe because she wasn't doing anything directly to her father. The others were doing something directly to somebody.
Well, the thing is, what we'll tell if it's a psychological trauma induced thing, and she's blamed herself, then who knows how many years she was sitting there thinking that she did something along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe constantly forgetting my bike on the lawn. Just sent my dad over the edge. I don't know. But
take out the trash.
Yeah, but who knows, because if it weren't something that, I don't know. This movie was weird. It could have been about
I
15
thought,
minutes longer and then been a lot better for it.
yeah, it was strange how like this is a 2 hour long movie and almost 2 hours. I think it's like an hour 54 or 5 or
Yeah.
something.
And
And
what is William Baldwin's character like? I the only thing I recall is him like.
he's a huge pervert,
Well, no, I know he's a huge pervert because he's like videotaped. He's like
right?
a creepier, not as humorous Dennis character. You know, has all his like videotapes and shit like that. And it's weird when he like looks into the camera and he just smiles. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're just watching yourself, your
Yeah,
ass.
uh,
That's yeah, it's really weird. But anyways, he
it is like Dennis.
it's kind of true. It's not as funny as what I'm saying.
Yeah,
When
That
William
was
Baldwin
very
does his
You know, that reminds me, Glenn Howerton was interviewed and talked about how this was one of his like favorite movies. No, I don't know.
I'd believe it. I was
but his-
channeling Joe Hurley for
Helped inspire the
know?
character of Dennis Reynolds.
what were you gonna say, Ray?
I was gonna say, Joe's character. We don't see his resolve, right? He kind of just mentions it to like Nelson, right?
I think because,
Because his life falls apart.
well, just like with the Bacon's resolution, it all played out in real life. You know, these people were still alive to contend with, and so Joe's resolution, I think, was just being left, like, you know, finally his comeuppance for
Right.
around his lady so
Yeah,
much.
the guy was getting married, and he was still swinging dick left and right, and
But I thought like he got off like really light. You know what I mean? Like he didn't.
I mean, yeah, his life wasn't threatened.
No, it was just like, oh, she
It was
left
just
me.
like, yeah, exactly. A lot of this shit.
Well, I
that-
mean, only Nelson's life was really at stake here because he was getting, you know, he was beating the shit out of himself. You know,
Yeah, and of course, I think of course the smartest person in this whole film was Randy's character. He just
Oliver Platt. Yeah,
what was the joke he said? He said something like at the end. He's like, "Oh man, I'm glad I didn't go under." He made some like I think he made a joke about a sandwich or something. Fuck, I can't remember. But then the movie ends. I was just like, damn it. They should have let him go first. Like the most interesting person there to me, or probably would have been the funniest, and they don't let him. Like,
All right, so I want to get into a bit of the science aspect, and it's kind of short because there's not much science to this. I'm just kind of curious as to how realistic is it that they can go under like purposefully and then bring themselves out without having actual brain damage, but they're bringing back a guilty subconscious.
Not.
What is that realistic in any way?
I mean,
I want to
sure.
say the shock to stop the heart was proper, and the resuscitating looked okay. I mean, I'm
As
not
far
sure
as
about the
anyone's
technique
doing.
and stuff, or if the
Yes.
hot and cold blanket stuff was mattered or whatever.
Right.
Because I don't know what it mattered whether they raised or lowered their body temperature because they were trying to ice
If
them
the
for
heart
a couple
stopped
minutes.
pumping, like you're not gonna. It doesn't matter what your fucking temperature is. I don't think necessarily. It's not gonna keep the blood flow to your brain going. I don't know. But then again, I don't know enough to say about that. Like the idea seems like it might work, but obviously no one would ever try something that fucking stupid.
Okay, and then so as far as getting into kind of the bringing back manifestations of their guilty consciences,
Sort of trauma.
my question for that is, in all of like the research that Rachel did for the into near-death experiences, that it seems that none of the stuff that I don't know how long she'd been collecting data for this or whatever, but even up to the point where she was about to go under, she believed that it was all like a good place and there wasn't a peaceful afterlife, God or whatever.
And then she takes a 180,
but
turns basically full atheist.
Why is it only these 4 individuals that get this psychological trauma? Why did nothing else come up? Like where, because Robert's sitting there interviewing people about their near-death experience. So is it something where is it this weird karmic justice in the universe where they get punished for trying, punished by God to, try to explore the unknown like that, or what,
I mean, your description sounds like it's more interesting than the movie turned out to
Well,
be.
because I'm just trying to figure out how the fuck it's all supposed to work. Like, how are
Yeah.
these
Yeah,
folks,
so, like,
unique in these,
your
near death experiences and them impacting their life?
I think this was one of the main sort of criticisms I came across a few about this movie, and that was that they took that idea and they just flubbed it. Like they didn't really go anywhere with it. Like apparently it would have been very interesting to explore those exact ideas of, okay, let's go through these near death experiences and let's see what kind of information we can gather.
Well, and I would argue that
I
this
mean,
movie still, in the end, argued that it was still God. Like, it was all God,
yeah, that okay, yeah,
with that final shot,
I would agree how even when David
But I'm not.
Kevin character went under and he comes back saying, "Oh, I felt that there was this presence protecting you," is such good, and then Julia Roberts Manis makes the joke, so you're a believer, you believe in God now, kind of thing, and it's like, oh no, that's not okay. Yeah, so apparently that was a criticism of this movie, that was very shallowly explored as far as what they could have done with this idea. And I mean, if that's true, I'd agree with it, because again, like, it started off with a pretty interesting premise and then just ended with them trying to deal with these sort of unrelated traumas.
Yeah, I mean,
and
going
by
back to like what I
unrelated in
said
the
at the
sense of,
top,
like, what does that have to do with death or life after death? Like, they're just
another 15 minutes would have done this movie good. I said it before and I'll say it again. A little bit more exploration or exposition or anything really, just to flesh this out a little bit, because it's a cool concept. And
yeah.
but it seems like, we kind of learned.
The movie was shot well. I really liked how when they had the when they were going through the hallucinations, you could always tell they use a blue light. All of a sudden the area is lit up blue or red. Usually the red is
those are some hard colors in there too. Like
yeah, that's why I was thinking insofar as how it seemed to give you that whole fucking film noir atmosphere kind of stuff, where there's a lot of hard colors everywhere and just strange sort of shots and angles and little what was it? I really like. Well, yeah, pretty much. I guess one of the easiest ones that I sort of liked seeing was by camera shots was whenever they would walk into the medical lab where all the cadavers are when they're in class and examining the bodies, and you see it from overhead view, just looking down on them, and then then it pans, like, it doesn't pan to the side, but it'll have another view of them just all standing there from right in the middle. I don't know. I just like those, because that particular view, because that is something I've seen in a lot of sort of horror games. Actually, that perspective is used there too, and I like it because it gives you this sort of alien feeling of.
You know who should have co-directed this movie? Terry Gilliam. Think about those shots and these like dream sequences and stuff. The camera all going.
Yeah,
I mean, the medical school itself, or the classroom that they had, seemed like very odd to me. Like, it's
like they set it up in the lobby.
Yeah, it's like, what century are you guys actually in?
Yeah.
You have this modern technology, but it looks like you're in the Middle Ages.
Right, and the lighting is kind of terrible too. Like, it seems very dim lighting.
Yeah. You know
very,
what?
very open. Like, it doesn't seem very
dark in those fucking rooms, and they're
doesn't
trying
seem
to,
very
like,
sanitary.
Mood lighting, so they can get to know their patients.
Right. Yeah. I
was like,
no, that's a good
like
point.
anybody could just like walk into the classroom from the outside.
It didn't seem like a classroom or a lab or anything. Like I said, I thought it was like the lobby in a bank or something.
Yeah, basically.
It was strange. Or like
one of those like, what are they, like the medical theaters where they'll have like the observation decks or whatever.
Wow, you know what, man,
like the gallery
that's
up top.
cool, because maybe that was the idea they were going with, that overhead shot. Like, that's what it makes me think of, because in those theaters, right, mostly everybody would be standing up and around in the back surrounding the floor looking down,
watch everything going on.
That's a cool interesting little thought.
One of the things I wanted to bring, talking about the science aspect of this was, I think you mentioned it before. I don't know if it was, you, Daniel, or Roland. Uh, that it says that doctors have long believed that if someone is without a heartbeat for longer than about 20 minutes, the brain usually suffers irreparable damage.
Right.
But there's also
You
like
said 20 minutes.
That's 20 minutes, yeah.
So I
Well,
I
there's,
remembered reading an article about somebody being brought back around that time. Kind of.
well, there's other like stipulations here. Okay, so
Mhm.
there's other questions here that says how long can someone be dead before being revived? And it says blood circulation can be stopped. Blood circulation can be stopped in the entire body below the heart for at least 30 minutes, with the injury to the spinal cord being.
Oh, right.
There's like certain aspects to this.
Yeah. You
So,
could
but
be
is
put on
this
ice.
relatively newish information?
I don't think so. No.
I
Okay.
I have read like weird freak stories about people being like literally frozen to death, or not to death, or to be declared dead and then thawed later, and they're resuscitated kind of
Yeah,
shit. So,
Encino Man. That documentary.
and I
Remember
just
that
finished
one?
watching I binge watched the last 2 seasons of Doom Patrol. So I'm so happy getting some Brendan Fraser. Right.
Everyone's always happy for getting a little dose of the Frage, man.
Yeah, he does a great job. Funny. But yeah, also true. You know what? Good point. Before.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with you, Daniel, that a few more minutes of this movie with a little bit more exposition, or like
I thought you were gonna
information
say I would
on,
agree with you, and No Man is.
Encino Man's a great movie. Like it is a documentary too. Sorry.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
It was like, isn't it like Pauly Shore, he was a real character in fucking MTV. So I mean, that character
Yeah,
is
he
real.
wasn't. He was a real. That was him. He wasn't playing a
Yeah,
character.
he wasn't
Yeah.
playing a
He
character,
never does.
buddy.
All
Anyways, we'll do
right.
Encino Man at some point.
Oh
That's
yes.
a great.
Well,
Along with all the short verse, you got
God,
jury duty, fucking in the
Ray,
army now,
I have already told
son-in-law.
myself that I'm not gonna drink as stupid this year as I did last year, and you're already making it hard.
Well, it'll be a month, Roland. When you drink heavy for a month to get through this short verse.
It's a cheat month.
Yeah, it's a cheat month. Yeah.
I gotta
No one
empty
says you have to drink
my
every
cabinet.
day, just when you watch the movie and then when we talk about the practice.
Right. All right. I got a fifth. I'm ready.
All right, so it'll be like a filmography of Pauly Shore. So like maybe like 2 or 3 times a week in some random month we'll discuss that.
I mean, as long as obviously we're in the army now, and son-in-law will be in there somewhere. But
Absolutely. And
uh,
so let's get into whether or not this movie can be a sequel, which technically there is a soft reboot slash
yeah,
sequel-ish kind of movie, but
don't know anything about it.
what, like, I think we talked about this in the past episodes. These are like traumatic experiences for people, and if we're gonna go by how Kiefer Sutherland's character in the soft reboot is just hiding out,
It's kind of
have you
what I was
seen
thinking
the
was going
published
to happen. I don't
copies
think
of
anybody was going to take these guys seriously, and I figured that they were going to get blacklisted, and if not, like flat out, like fucking arrested or some shit for what all of them did with this.
But I mean, what's the legalities of them?
The legalities of them, like I don't know, like
I don't know. Is it
they're
illegal to kill yourself in whatever state they were in? Did anyone actually figure out what state they were in?
yeah, actually, I
Well, the
thought
thing
they
is
were in
that
DC,
nobody died. So technically,
because remember
they
at
killed
one point
themselves
they
in
have
Attempted murder on all of them.
attempted murder. They each have attempted murder.
Conspiracy. Yeah.
It does say where they were, some college, some such,
Chicago,
but I
I
know that
believe.
they were in DC because
Oh yeah, no, Chicago was where they was.
so
Yeah.
they do have, when the Halloween is passing, and they have a scene where people are farting around in front of is it the Lincoln Memorial?
Oh, dude, I thought they were just like raging on a college campus.
I don't know. I thought
they were on a campus too, and I thought it was like,
okay, I'm probably wrong then, but I know that fuck, let me see here. It does say where they are. As a part of it. Let me just pull up the
I mean,
Wikipedia.
this is really not important, but I just it's like,
No,
this could
but
be
Where does it take place?
Where? Hold on.
Do you think that I mean,
Mhm.
how traumatic would this have been for someone if they've died, they've come back? Don't you think that would be something they would kind of be focusing on for a good portion of their lives, assuming that
Exactly.
I mean, if they just all disappeared into obscurity, they never talk about it ever again, and they go on to become doctors, except for Keith Sutherland because he still can't come to terms with the fact that yeah, he did kill a kid when he was younger, and he kind of
well.
apologized for it or something, or
What
came
I
to a resolution.
think Kevin Bacon was getting ready to do right at the beginning of the movie when he was going to take off because he got kicked out of med school.
Well, he was
Um,
suspended.
He
He
was
fucking
suspended.
quit because he got
Oh,
He
he just suspended?
bullshit.
Word.
Yeah, he
I
was
figured he
suspended.
was, reevaluating his life and he was, going to take off to go be in the Tremors movie. I was
Yeah.
trying to connect these universes a little
Yeah.
bit.
So
Yeah.
the film, not to just to sort of end there. It was filmed in Chicago at the Loyola University.
Yeah, the university. Yeah,
Excuse
it's a
me.
weird university though.
I don't.
Well, just I guess the way the layout is what I mean.
Right.
With some lot of construction going on.
Yeah. I mean, they had a real good, solid chance to just explore some really, what should have been some interesting concepts, and it just didn't. They just
But Roland, this is the space for potential sequels, or where did they go from here? So you
yes.
can
And
imagine this.
so,
Yeah,
uh,
imagination.
so I mean,
Hey,
to
take it
me,
character
I
by
was,
character. Take it character by character. So we have Oliver Platt. Mind you, he didn't go under, so he
yeah,
still kind of has his sensibilities
I mean, he
about
would have
him.
probably been the only one to pass at this point
And he's
because
also he seems like he might be a little bit more paranoid as how this would affect him. So I think he's gonna stay quiet the whole time. I don't think he's gonna say shit. So he's gonna
no, but
continue on
you
with his
know
story.
what? That probably could have been a good start for like the sequel, maybe. Like years later, for some reason, Randy gets like a weird hair out of his up his ass, and he either decides to go under the procedure himself or has a
No,
near-death experience.
Randy gets in a car crash or something and has a near death experience, and then he goes and seeks out Nelson and the
Right.
Bacon.
Who's absconded off to a Buddhist temple mountain or some shit somewhere.
No, that's Joe. Joe went and did that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Good point. Yeah, he deserves that.
He's creating abstinence for himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's it's his penance.
Yeah.
What
But I
did
think
what did fucking Randy call
Now
him
he's just filming
in the
his
movie?
his
Pussy Marauder?
What was that?
Yeah, fucking Randy calls Joe in the beginning of the movie when Joe's talking to him about how he's still farting around, even though he's married or engaged to be married, and Oliver Platt's like, oh yeah, it makes me think of this. What is it? This phrase? Oh, this a pussy marauder. Yeah. I just fuck. I love Oliver Platt. He's fucking great in everything he does.
I think that Rachel would get really weird and go on like daytime TV and like write a book about her experience.
Well, technically, she's the one already like
researching this. Yeah,
researching all this. So I mean, like,
But-
it seems like she would say like probably use her experiences and just kind of like use it as some other kind of person, like say it's someone else, not to say that was her.
She doesn't really have any resolution necessarily, does she? I mean, like aside,
she comes to term with how her dad actually died.
right?
I think,
but
Doesn't
so
blame herself.
by that, I was sort of thinking about how her views on the afterlife, whether it was all negative and shitty and whatever. I don't think it explains after
how she felt afterwards.
felt after. So maybe that would, I think that tracks pretty well for what she might have gone on to do to either further explore, her beliefs or her experiences, and obviously, make a career out of that. She's I think probably the most motivated and driven person in this movie, right? Takes it pretty seriously, which is funny because at first everyone's kind of flippant, or rather they make her feel that way in the sense that no one lets her take the plunge until she's the last person to do it. And at that point, it's revealed that apparently because of her personality, she makes everyone nervous around her. So I mean, I could see her sort of taking that and just making I guess a professional venture out of it.
Yeah, I mean, we already discussed that Kevin Bacon's character David moved to what was it? What's the name of the town? Oh, Perfection.
What?
He moved to Perfection and changed his name to Valentine, and works with the other guy to create fences, clean shitters.
Well, yeah, because I think at this point he decides to actually go, but then he wasn't going to change his identity, but he changed his identity because he wanted to get away from all of that because he was worried about where Kiefer was going to take it to the next level because now he's overcome it. Now it's time to try to understand it. And then the experience continue. And
I would probably like to see in the sequel where Kevin Bacon and Kiefer Sutherland's character meet up because at some point Kevin Bacon's character and his all the shit that's going down in Perfection with the graboids, he did get notoriety and he got into National Geographic probably.
Oh, so
him and Earl are doing the press circuit. So Kiefer Sutherland sees him. They meet up.
he just shows up and standing in the back of like one of those like a book signing or press release sort of thing. Yeah.
He was at a convention.
Yeah, it's him, Earl, and then the geologist,
Grab
girl,
Cowan.
whatever her name was.
Shit.
And then you have Bird. Like you have the whole cast there talking about graboids and stuff. I'm just saying. Connect the universes. Like you said.
And what if Valentine also there's a near-death experience triggered by one of the graboid experiences, so then he starts hallucinating graboids after he thought that
he's having
he's the graboid, I guess.
Yeah.
He's eating the dynamite cars.
He's a graboid that
flies off the cliff
and like dies.
That's Jesus Christ. That's making me think of like some fucking Jacob's Ladder bullshit where like he hallucinates it all in the end and like it just turns out he got eaten in the like first 5 minutes of the movie or some shit.
Yeah, he's constantly visualizing himself like traveling through the dirt and shit. Like
and what it's actually is it's just him being excreted by the graboid at the end of the movie. So what about okay, Joe's on the mountain. Valentine is out making a very successful venture. I don't know what the fuck.
I do have a new venture with these graboids, and it's a whole new discovery.
So do you guys think that Nelson would go on to finish his medical degree proper and then on the side try to conduct these experiments kind of like as a mad scientist angle?
He's gonna go full reanimator?
Maybe.
Possibly.
That could be cool.
Oh god.
Pretty boy Jeffrey Combs.
Well, he meets him in jail or something. I don't know.
Oh well, no! You call Nelson the unanimator.
Oh my god!
And he meets up with Jeffrey
Combs. That's so bad. It works. Jeez. You should be ashamed. In any other context,
I guess I'll throw out the manuscript. I've been working on it for about 3 years now, but
yeah, might need a tweak. We'll see.
All right. So I guess we can move on to the rewind, which is, I guess, favorite scenes. But I can't tell you for sure, like if there were any favorite scenes for me. I do like these actors. I do like their performances in this movie, as over the top as they may seem. That's about it for me. I mean, as far as like scenes are concerned, there's nothing that really stands out to me. I think when the kid dies from the tree, that's kind of funny. But
I mean, I did kind of chuckle at all of the all the shit that when David's character was having his hallucination on the train, the subway, and that little girl looks at him and just starts saying all these fucking wonderful things,
Yeah.
and like she's just walking towards him. Um, I thought that was pretty funny because also she had like a lisp too, so she's like, "Come, Guzzler, big," like the way she's saying things, and at one point you see a zoom in of the kid's face, and you can see her lisping these things, and it just made me laugh.
Roland, you're a bully, my man. That's some bully ass shit right there.
I mean, I was a kid and I was overcompensating. Excuse me. I grew up in a shitty town, and God, I still remember when I left here and then I came back for one or two grades. The first day I came back, I think it was like 5th grade. I ended up getting clothesline playing football. Like my first fucking day back, and some 6'4" dude. I was like 5'0" too, so I was like little. And some ghetto ass dude just fucking stuck his arm out, fucking knocked my ass down. Like, so yeah, no, it's not a whole lot of good there to remember. And I just remember being like, okay, I need to be mean to survive. And
And how did that make you feel?
and now I am a productive member of society. Everything is great. Happy. This is the face of success, gentlemen.
So I see the medication we prescribed is working. Okay, excellent.
I think I need a refill.
But I think that's enough of for our session today, Roland. And
I can't afford that shit. You kidding me?
Anyway. Daniel, do you have anything that?
No, I didn't even really like this movie all that much.
Like it's just not one of those ones, right? That
like it was all right. It seemed like a cool premise, but I mean, I know we're not into reviews or whatever. We'll get there, but that contributed to like the most fun I had was making fun of this stuff, like the Tremors connection and stuff like that, which I thought about last night when I was watching this fucking thing. And
yeah,
so
I will say this. This is probably I probably kind of this is the 3rd time I've seen this movie.
I swore this was going to be one of your favorites.
No,
and you're going to defend it to the end of the earth and stuff.
No. I mean, again, the only thing I will defend about this movie is that I really like the cast. That's it. The story itself I think it's fairly mediocre.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, we say a cool premise. It really has a cool premise to it, but it's not fleshed out well.
So
it leaves you wanting, like you said, an extra 15 minutes more, maybe 30 minutes more to kind of a bit more in depth to like these characters.
Can I ask you guys? I guess just sort of a thought that occurred to me. But how are you guys on psychological horror? Like any?
I like psychological horror a lot. Again, with this one,
could you maybe think of any examples, any kinds of movies that you might off the top of your head? Because I have difficulty with that myself, in that I've played more psychological horror video games than I've seen psychological horror movies. And as far as the game storylines go, I can't stand them because I know it's all bullshit and it irritates me. It's like, oh, cool, this is a hallucination. This isn't actually happening, or this is some kind of traumatic past or some sort of.
I will say one that I do enjoy. Mind you, I know for some people the reveal kind of takes people out of the movie.
You're not going to say Malignant, are you?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I was not going to say that one because that wasn't psychological. That was.
I mean, no.
That was body horror.
Sure. All right, go ahead.
Body / action movie / cop drama.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Damn, that's busy.
Yeah,
it is a busy film. I will say the movie Identity with John Cusack.
I don't think I ever saw that.
It's where there's a whole group of characters that end up in this motel, and there's someone killing them off.
Wait, is that the movie with Val Kilmer?
No, it's not.
Okay, excuse me.
Oh, well, there's someone killing them off, and they're trying to figure out who's doing it, right? But it turns out that all these characters are just personalities in this person's head, and he's kind of killing them off in his mind. Where you
Okay.
get that at the very end. I just
So
ruined it for you guys. But I mean, if you
not really. Like I've like I said, I played a lot of. I've actually heard that premise in quite a few video games, and that shit.
yeah, I mean,
It's
I it, some of these things can get sold. I buy these premises or these movies, or I like them. It really just depends on the delivery of the actors.
right. Exactly.
If
Exactly.
it wasn't John Cusack, but there were just other actors in there that were very good, but he's like the star. If it was anybody else, it might not have done as well for me. Like I personally probably wouldn't have liked it. But
I'd say the same for this movie. If it had different actors in it, it probably wouldn't have been as interesting.
yeah, I probably
I
not.
mean,
would
Kevin
not have
Bacon does a great job.
probably
Kevin
would not have given
Sutherland
it a second
also,
thought.
I'd have to say most of the actors fit their roles fairly well in this movie.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
Me
saying is
from-
I think they do a good job as far as their characters are concerned, but I just think the story itself is not.
It's kind of shallow.
Again, I think it's a good premise for the story. It's just shallow in its delivery. Like I feel like it was cut for time or something, and they kind of left out like a lot of good parts. So like they just threw it out there, and there you go.
Considering it's a 2-hour movie, holy fuck.
Right, but then you're thinking of Joe Schumacher
Yeah.
movies. I mean, look at fucking
Yeah.
Batman and Robin. Look at all these.
Yeah.
Joe Schumacher is kind of a hit or miss director for me. Like he made one of my favorite quote unquote vampire horror movies, fucking Lost Boys. I like some of his other films, but there's a lot that I don't care for. Batman and Robin being one of them. It's just bad.
How dare you?
It's just fucking bad movie. Bad, but good to make fun of. You know, it's a good drinking movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be it for the rewind. So we can go into our ratings for this movie. I want to start it off by saying, remember, we're doing 1 out of 10
Oh, yeah.
this time
Oh
around.
yeah.
We're doing 1 out of 10. I'm gonna give this movie a 4 out of 10. Again, I've already said most of my reasons why I like this movie and reasons why I don't. So that's just gonna be where it stands. 4 out of 10 for me. Daniel, what do you give this movie?
I think I've expressed enough of the concerns that I had. But did like the cast. That's even the lesser Baldwin. I thought he was cool or like good in it.
Yeah.
But I wish this movie was a little bit longer. As I already kvetched about. But I remember finishing the movie, turning at her and going, okay.
That was
After, of course, after making fun of the God like angle that they tried to mash in with but I'm not sure if that was like Christian God focused or if it was actually like Greek mythology. Cause I thought I saw like, what was the cat that stole fire from the gods, Prometheus or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause there was like a little dude next to like either God or Zeus that had like a little torch or something in his hand. So I thought maybe it was something like that, but still like it was some sort of like metaphysical,
symbolism there.
Yeah, I mean, if you call it hit in the face with it a fucking symbol, but well, it's still a symbol, just really in your face. But word.
I mean, if they try to beat you over the head with it, sure, or at least it. I could see that in because of how how very straight or very simplistic this plot is, and the way they explain the after death experiences, and then it just kind of stops being the main centerpiece of the movie. It sort of just goes on to everyone's individual traumas and whatnot.
Daniel, I didn't catch your actual rating.
Straight up, I'm gonna give this a 2. Like I really did. I mean, I could have really not watched this movie and been super fine my entire life. Like just because it would, once again, cool premise as we just keep getting at. Like this movie had so much promise to it, I believe, and it just kind of went. Yeah, it really did. Like, gosh, like.
I find it funny that they tried to get this movie. Why this one specifically? If it doesn't even have that great of ratings as of right now, to like reboot it.
Oh, because Hollywood has been fucking creatively bankrupt for decades. Maybe they were running, the license for it was running out, and they needed to they wanted to keep it, so they just thought, let's just shit out a movie or something. Because that's happened before with a lot of things.
That's very true. Yeah.
Maybe.
But I was just personally curious because I mean this movie didn't do like that great at the box office, but
You know,
this one, like it seems like it's a very forgettable movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
you know what they could have done with that, 15 minutes instead of a little bit more explanation or whatever, or exposition into the events, maybe just more exposition about everyone's motivations going into that.
Yeah.
A little bit more backdrop of, because it's implied why that stuff's relevant to like Rachel, but it's not
Everyone
very
else
like
is
clear that it's because she's got some sort of guilt tied up with her dad icing himself or whatever.
Well, so originally, doesn't she use the excuse that she wants to be able to convey that information to her patients that are like terminal, those sorts of things, to
Yeah,
just
I guess they like put him at ease or something.
right, a sense of
Yeah.
peace of some sort.
But
yeah,
And
but
then
you can still, just, but she's still stuck to the myth that, there was an other side and it's a place of peace or whatever. Like she was totally like already vending that shit to her patients.
right.
right, but
So-
there's one thing I just real quick before you
The
get
rest of them-
rolling your ratings. What were Kiefer Sutherland Nelson's motivations?
Precisely.
That I could tell just
He just seemed like he was just
Or the-
He got the idea one day, like he just, after an all night bender of studying and, snorting Ritalin so he can, pass his medical exams or whatever.
Adderall.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Some
He just fucking pulled this thing
brain
straight out of his ass.
focus. But he just took a cold shower one morning trying to wake up and he's like, oh wait, what if I just kill myself?
Yeah,
Like,
he seemed to
Get
just be
my-
doing
get
it for the hell of it,
get my
or I
friends
suppose
to
for
bring me
the
back, yeah.
chance to explore the great mysteries of the
know,
afterlife. And
I didn't really buy.
granted, he did seem
How
very
he kind of
blasé about the
pull-
fact that it was going to make him famous. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's supposed to happen." Okay.
Well, yeah, he's like, of course it's going to happen. Like anything like this, it's huge. It's so huge that it's going to generate this, but that's not the important bit about this. Like, he was trying to actually get to the experiment and see what's up. But
Yeah, for the sake of science. I don't know that was his total motivation. I'd have to say that maybe he was trying to get a little bit of.
Why he was trying to get Kevin Bacon to stay? He's like, I need you to bring me back, or pull me back or whatever. And I was like, why? He's just another doctor. Like,
Well,
you're all,
Well, he was actually supposed to be the best student there. No, I think that was what they had said when
Was that
Kevin
it?
Bacon was trying to leave.
yeah.
Was trying to like, and that was another weird thing. He's throwing his shit out the second story of the building,
Just walk out the door, buddy.
and then he just walks up to his car and just throws it in the back there. And I'm like, what the fuck was that, dude? But while he's doing that,
It's such a Valentine thing to do, bro.
Kiefer Sutherland's character is telling
Wait,
him
man, same
why
universe.
he's telling him not to make such a big deal about them suspending him because he's the best student. They're never going to get rid of him. They need him, blah, blah, blah. And then that's what I was thinking.
But then he said, but I need you to pull me back. But I was like, I don't know why. Like I don't.
That's the only.
Did it have to do with the fact that
Yeah,
he
you're right.
like
Doesn't-
Kevin Bacon's character is like so hell bent on saving someone's life that he'll do anything he can to kind of bring him back?
I suppose.
Maybe he has like the most passion to save a life. I don't know.
Well, thing is,
Kevin Bacon's character in the beginning, the reason he gets kicked out is because like he's
Yeah.
interjected himself in a situation where he saved someone's life, but
Right.
yet he got in trouble for it. And
Because he is not a doctor. Yeah. Yet.
yeah, I didn't understand. Like, were any of these people, because they kept calling each other doctor and stuff, but then they were like acting like they were med students. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
like I have a class, and I assumed that they were going to go teach a class or something, but no, they're doing the fucking autopsy stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, you guys are calling each other doctors. Is this just like a tongue in cheek, like honorific amongst friends, or what the fuck is going on with this movie? Like,
Roland, your ratings. 1 out of
I was actually going to give it the same number rating as Daniel here. Yeah, it's a 2. I mean, it didn't take me long watching this movie before I knew I wasn't going to enjoy it. I don't hate the movie. It's again because it has some interesting ideas, but it was fairly disappointing in the sense that like it was, yeah, like you said, poorly executed. It was sort of a waste of a interesting premise.
Okay, I'd like to just put a little quick asterisk in my review, and because maybe I suffered under, false expectations for the movie just because it was in our weird science line, and so I was trying to evaluate it as such, and so maybe because it was more of a like psych thriller or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be, um, I think I got caught up on that. But even then, I don't think that I would dig this movie. Even if, yeah, I don't know, but maybe I was influenced a little bit by just going like, well, where the fuck is the science? That's
give my creature life.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
we do have many instances where we're going to talk about a film over some sort of theme, and it doesn't always go so well. Again, Donnie Darko. We had 12 Monkeys, and also like it
which
happened.
are both very apparently super celebrated in popular
Yes.
movies and shit.
We don't always hit the mark. We're not always as enthused like we were with like Weird Science or fucking Short Circuit. There's gonna be some duds in there, and that's totally fine. So.
I think this movie could have been something very interesting, and it sort of just came off as an okay movie because it has some really good actors in there that play their roles fairly well, but I don't know, it felt like I was watching A&E or fucking Hallmark or some shit.
What if this movie was more horror leaning? Because they're trying to go for like psych thriller, but what if they go like psych horror, as we were talking about a little earlier? Just like, make these experiences like, frightening, at least like, like super frightening. I mean, the premise of like, getting, but you're just like reliving little segments of your memories, and we're not really seeing, what's so scary apart from Nelson getting the shit beat out of him.
Yeah.
That's probably the scariest elements of all of this. But if you twisted this, these things to be a little bit darker, then maybe you could have gotten away with some of the misgivings of this movie, because they had some like cool stuff going on, and then they figure out, and you have the same catch all like, oh, it's because of guilt associated with this event in my life or whatever, and that's still the resolution, but you get to it in kind of a maybe a almost Nightmare on Elm Street kind of fashion as far as fixing things,
where they bring the actual things into reality and kind of battle them in some way.
even if it's just their minds. But yeah. Like if it was like not just a mental phenomenon, but like, because I mean, I don't know, because do you think that Kiefer was really, fucking himself up that hard just himself, or was his mind playing such a powerful trick on himself with the hallucination to where it, took form, quote unquote?
Right.
I mean, it could have. You mean like I think he would have been going full fucking Tyler Durden or whatever, right? Where in his head he sees something that's
right. That's
physically, but everyone else is watching him and he's like beating his own ass, kind of thing.
Right.
And that was again the idea I got from that
that,
one scene where he's holding the fucking screwdriver after the kid whips his ass. That's the only thing I can think of that might have suggested that was the case there.
I mean, but we didn't write nor direct nor fund this bitch, so we're just dudes talking about it.
Do you think supernatural, like a supernatural thriller, would be a type of movie? I'm not sure.
Isn't that a type of movie?
Follows into this, because I question that this has any like horror at all. I don't know. I'm sort of just trying to make that up in my head there. I don't know that's actual. It probably isn't, but
I mean, just be aware that the genres themselves, I mean, it's just whatever people attack. They could have like a characteristic of that particular genre, and it could be like so small.
The only reason I said is because of their strange shared like they don't share their hallucinations, but they each have their own sort of like trauma brought made real in a sense to them. I don't know that I think of that as a actual horror so much as just.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think that I think there's all sorts of elements of a lot of genres in this, because I was thinking that if you just break down individual experiences, you could maybe make an argument that this movie has elements of a suspense film, and thrillers, psych thrillers. Just a horror thriller. Supernatural
Erotica.
Yeah, I mean, like there's so much. There's a lot going on in this fucking movie, and I just wish it was a little bit more cohesive.
Yeah.
Along with the other stuff we've bitched about so far, but
Yeah, it really is, and it just fucking jumps around on a lot of different. Seems to jumping around a lot.
It's one of those we just need to sit down and start writing, the next script, for the sequel, and then we'll pitch it and get thrown out promptly on our asses, but we can say we tried.
It's okay, guys. We'll wait 30 years. Those Cisco and Evil will be dead by then.
Found. After all, we've all been killed by 5G and Bill Gates's machinations.
They'll have no choice but to love this movie. All movies will be Flatliners.
All right, so I guess we'll bring this movie to a close, or this episode to a close. If there's anyone who's listening, what was that?
We were kind of working on a movie, like
That's true.
Our reboot. Our
Which
20
at this point I think we can have some successful reboots in our future, guys. So
yeah, well,
we just have to write them down, and that's lays the trouble. We have trouble writing shit down, so
working on it.
I kind of have an allergy to it, I think.
So if you are listening or watching on YouTube, what did you think of Flatliners? Is it something you have seen? Is it your favorite movie? Do you hate this movie? Do you hate all the characters in this movie? Do you hate the actors? Some people hate Julia Roberts.
I really like to hear what somebody that really likes this movie, enjoys this movie, would have to say.
And if you haven't seen it, the only place that we found it in the wild was on Vudu, and I think it's like $4 to rent. Maybe even own it for that much. I'm not sure.
I would suggest waiting till it's absolutely free on a Pluto TV or maybe a Tubi.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're really raring to go and you've never heard of this movie and you get really excited about this cast,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, this is not sponsored, but you can give Vudu some money. Like we need as many streaming services so we can all just pay like 4 times the cable bill that we used to pay.
Oh yeah, we're definitely.
We need to continue that trend.
I'm totally not going to jump between services or whatever as they.
Yeah, I totally didn't suspend Hulu to get HBO Max. I totally didn't do that. I absolutely did not do that. Geez, man, I've got almost them all. I'm looking at you next, Paramount Plus. We'll see.
I had someone suggest I think it was Discovery Plus.
Oh yeah.
Just to watch the paranormal shows, and I'm like, I don't know how much I really want to see
the Travel Channel and stuff. Yeah,
I don't know how much I want to see that shit, man. I think I'm fine with my bit of HBO Max because I can see Peacemaker, and it's only because I have it on a 6-month fixed rate of like $7 or $8 a month as opposed to the price. So
yeah, that's what's up, dude. They kind of screwed me, but I have a fixed rate of like $12 for.
Yes, I don't know, man.
Mine's included in my cell phone bill, so it's kind of free.
What is that? T-Mobile, Verizon,
AT&T. Yeah, they gave it to us when they updated our service plan. I think we each paid like an extra $10, and that's it for the plan, and then they bundled in HBO Max with that. So
sounds fun.
If you guys have ever just thought I'd mention.
So
no particular reason.
Hey, Ray, have you canceled Spotify?
No.
Yeah, fuck
that. I would like to talk about that very briefly. But we're going to end this episode now. So again, like and subscribe if you haven't yet. We have plenty more episodes coming your way. A lot of new horror coming out. A lot of new movies coming out. Some ridiculous. Some maybe not so much.
This should be an interesting year. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. We have Studio 666 from the Foo Fighters coming out, which I'm kind of wanting to see a lot of.
Never heard of it, but I am interested.
It's a horror movie. It's kind of ridiculous.
Is it the horror movie about how Courtney Love shot Kurt? Because it is. think
That one actually came out a couple years back, Daniel. There's a few films, comedies about that. There also
Oh,
documentaries, I mean,
documentary comedies.
documentary comedies. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. There's a scene with a guy named El Duce who was from some band who claimed that Courtney Love paid him or asked for him to take out Kurt Cobain for I think like $50,000 or something. He didn't do it, by the way. Huh?
Where's this true Hollywood story?
Oh, he's dead now. He got run over by train.
Oh,
See?
Love strikes again.
no loose ends.
Yeah, no loose ends ever. All right, that'll be it for us. We'll see you next time. I believe our next movie that we're going to be talking about as a group will be Real Genius, which
It
is
is.
that's a fun movie.
Oh
It's
yeah.
awesome.
All right, Ray. We're gonna need to see your hands at all times when we're doing this recording, because I know how you get with this movie.
All right.
Mhm.
We'll see you next time. Later.
See you,
Laters.
dudes.
Kids
But,
First Banking, a debit card and app for kids, and tools for you to teach them good money.
I could you hear that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called ad block. It works great, dude.
Oh man, I love it.
Well, I had a YouTube Premium for the longest time, so I mean,
Uh,
it didn't bother me until now.
just
so.
get like U-Block or something.